and welcome back to the third episode of the Spatially Challenged Knitter.
And friends.
And welcome back. And we're going to remember today to start, welcome back to San Diego, to Pacific Beach, specifically in San Diego, and to Needlecraft Cottage, where Megan's kindly letting us film again today. I'm Deb Whitehurst, otherwise known as the Spatially Challenged Knitter.
And I'm Jennifer, and I'm the friend. Yeah.
And we're lucky to get Jenn in here for one last podcast because we've got big things coming in your life.
I'll be doing an internship over the summer.
Oh, so
I'm excited, but I'm so sad because I won't be able to knit at open knitting on Fridays anymore. But it's okay. I know that we can plan some knitting days. It'll be good. Yeah. It's 2 months of my life. I can handle it, but I don't want to miss my knitting. Maybe I'll take some long lunch breaks. Yeah. Just disappear for a little while.
I'm an intern, but I need a lunch break. I have a very long lunch break.
Can I have a 4-hour lunch break? That's fine, right?
Isn't that what they give us?
They'll hire me. Yeah. They'll hire me after that, right?
Wow. Yeah. And we have some exciting things that have happened too. Here, let me take, I'm getting a scratchy throat. Let me take a drink here.
Yes, we have some exciting updates on our, well, Deb has a lot of finished objects and updates. I have my one monogamous project.
And our technology, because we're going to insert a picture. We have a tripod now. I actually got us a tripod on Amazon. Tried to put the phone on the wrong way, so we had to have Megan put the phone on for us.
Challenged.
Yes. And I want to show you the old technology that we use to hold the phone up on a stack of books with some plastic tubings around it. So this was our old phone technology, and I feel like our tripod is a big upgrade.
Yeah, don't come here expecting high tech. Yeah, but you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
That's the key, right? We're having fun. Hopefully you're having fun. You can knit with us. Yeah.
Yes, and laugh with us, hopefully, and not at us, with us.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start with finished objects.
Okay, so I don't have one.
And so Jen's portion is going to be really quick.
I just have a whip because as I said in I think the first podcast, I'm more of a monogamous knitter because I can't juggle that stuff. And I just know myself too well, and I will never finish things, and just keep moving on. And so I try to hold back from overbuying yarn because then I'll get excited and cast things on and then not finish things. So that doesn't make for the most riveting podcast content, unfortunately. It really should mean that then every episode I do have a finished object, but I haven't been knitting very quickly. But I have an update on my whip, so.
We're
doing a whip section. Okay, sorry. So I wasn't sure if we had various categories.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So Deb can show her finished stuff.
So my finished object is my Sophie scarf, and it's Sophie scarf by the PetiteKnit, and it
so cute.
Is made out of Skyland by Blue Sky Fibers, and Megan has this in the shop now, and I found this in Cannon Beach in Oregon at the little knit shop there, and she had one skein of this left, and it was sitting up by the cash register, and I picked it up and felt it, and it is the softest.
So
gorgeous. You have to pet this.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous.
And
it's such a pretty creamy white too. Yeah, it's really, really pretty.
And I had never seen Blue Sky before, so I bought this as my souvenir on that trip to Cannon Beach, and came home and it was like, well, what can I make out of one skein? And it was, well, the Sophie scarf. But, okay, I decided that I didn't want to make the Sophie shawl because I didn't have enough. And I didn't want to make the Sophie scarf the way it was written because it's really, like, petite knit is petite. Yes. And she has a skinny little neck that's probably, 13, 14 inches. And so this wraps around her like 5 times and she twists it up. Well, I don't have a skinny little neck. In fact, oh my God, yesterday, I can't even hardly move my neck today because yesterday when I was thinking about, okay, I'm going to do my neck on film and then I'm going to have to take off my scarf and show people my neck, I'm like, oh my God, look at my neck. And so I started doing those where you go like this and you tap. And then I was doing those, Hatta exercises. And my whole front of my neck is so sore today, I can hardly move. So,
oh my gosh,
it doesn't hilarious. Work to tone your neck in one day before
24 hours ahead of time. I know. Unfortunately, that's not how any of that works, right?
I don't understand. It should work.
That's hilarious.
But anyway, what I had done was I had watched several podcasts because this pattern was so popular. Yeah. And a lot of people have the same issue as me, that they have a larger neck, or what am I going to do with this little blob of yarn? I want to use all of my one skein.
Right.
So what they told you to do, or I can't even remember which podcaster it was, but they came up with the genius idea of weighing your skein of yarn. And so I brought in, this is my cool little toy I bought off of Amazon, and it's just a little scale. And it's better than a kitchen scale because your kitchen scale only measures to the nearest full gram. And so you don't know exactly how much yarn you have. And if you're doing something with scraps, or you need to be a little bit more precise, this is made for like a yarn. It measures to the bubble hunts of a gram, nice. That technical math blah blah of a gram. So you put your yarn on and you weigh it, and then you figure out what would 50%, what would half of your yarn be, and then you start knitting the pattern. And I can't tell you a lot about the pattern because it's a paid for pattern, but you knit the pattern, and all the way up you're doing I-cord on both sides, and you increase all the way up. Well, then when you get to where you're looking like, oh, okay, the yarn ball looks like it's halfway gone, or a little before you think it's halfway gone, weigh your yarn ball again. And you want to get to that halfway point or close to the halfway point. And then you start your decreases and go down the other side. And so it uses all of your yarn, and you can use that one special skein that you got on your vacation and you brought home as a souvenir, and it makes a longer Sophie scarf, which for me, I can wrap it, clear around my neck. I can even go down and have it hanging in front of me.
It gives you a little more option-wise, right? Yeah.
But the other thing that I would caution, I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
So pretty.
I'm really happy with the length. I have worn it a ton. And at first when I saw this, I thought, why would I want something heavy like that tied around my neck? Am I just gonna sweat, to death? But I took it on the trip to Japan.
Oh, right.
And in fact, I wore this. This is one of my travel outfits for the trip to Japan. And I wore this a ton, and I liked it because it wasn't a thing that I had to be worrying about when I was taking on and off a coat. It was up by my neck, and it kept me really warm. I was surprised at how warm just this little teeny scarf is. And I didn't have to have a big cowl. I didn't have to have a long hanging trailing scarf. It's just a nice little knit. And so I really highly recommend this pattern.
And it's not too much for a warm climate either, right? Which is nice for us in San Diego, because sometimes scarves are tempting to make, but then we don't have a lot of use for them. This is a good compromise. That's really
because
nice.
you could go out at night to a Padre game or something and bring this and a light jacket, and it's going to keep you perfectly warm at a game.
That's great.
The one thing I will say though, and I'll show it, watch the earrings that you wear, because I specifically put in earrings with no French wire on the back today, and I usually wear hoops with a dangle, and it kept catching on the Sophie scarf. And so I've got to kind of fix a little bit of this that you can see. But so watch, because it does snag, and it's a knit, it's going to snag. And so just watch the earrings that you wear when you wear this. So anyway, that's my finished object is my Sophie scarf.
And Megan has this in a few colors, right?
Oh, she's got it,
a lot of really pretty options. And it's just so gorgeous. This is what 40% fine Highland wool, 30% baby alpaca, and 30% silk.
And
so it's
oh
so
my
nice.
gosh. And look at the drape. I mean,
Yeah.
you can just tell this is going to be like the drapiest. And I just love it. It's just, it's not scratchy. It's just so soft against your skin. You never feel like
excellent gift too. Such a
gift. It really would. It you know, one skein is going to get you this nice big long scarf, and it would make you know, it's a one skein project.
Yeah, our friend Alice, who we knit with on Wednesdays, actually, she has like 6 sisters or something, and she made everybody a Sophie scarf for Christmas, which was a really cute idea, and various colors. Yeah, it was really sweet.
That is.
But yeah, this yarn in particular would be so
and then
nice.
have a family photo with everybody in their little Sophie scarves.
So
That's
nice.
cute.
And it's a very universally appealing design. You know, it's not anything that I feel people with different tastes wouldn't like, you know? So, I mean, that's probably why 10,000 million people have made the Sophie scarf, right?
And you know, if you don't want it this long, you can stop. You can see where I just increased, and then I just kept it the same, and I kept it the same until I got to the halfway point, and then I started the decrease. So you can definitely make it, if this is a little too long for you, or the person that you're making it for, you can, you know, make it and have a little leftover. But I truly wanted to use every inch of this yarn because, like I said, I had never seen it before, and I was in love with this yarn.
Yeah, I might need to make one of those soon. I feel like I need a palette cleanser soon, and that would be a really great pattern.
It is. It's a very straightforward, you know, easy pattern. And the other thing is you have to increase like every, I don't know, 10 rows. I have no idea what the increase rate is on this. But that's something you forget. So it's one of those little row things, like from twice-seared sheep, that you can add onto it and keep track of your rows. Or like after my increase, I would put a stitch marker in because I didn't have one of those yet. And so I'd just hook a little stitch marker, and then I would count my rows on my I-cord, which makes it super easy for you to count. And it's in garter, so which it makes it even easier to count. And then that way I could keep track of my increase and decrease row, because if you don't, you will mess it up. That's the one thing only thing really you've got to pay attention to on this scarf. So anyway, highly recommend. And then my second finish objects, friend, can I ask you to get one of the pink socks down?
Yes.
On the last podcast, we talked about socks, and we talked about the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla sock pattern. And I just wanted to bring in some of the socks that I had made with the sock pattern so you can see, kind of get an idea of what it looked like, because we didn't show the pattern last time. And also see the difference in the socks that you can make choosing a different weight of yarn, and also whether you just make the whole sock, if the yarn's variegated, you know, what happens in the yarn. So I started with socks for my husband, because I was making everybody socks for Christmas. So these are Mike's socks, and I can't even remember the yarn, but it's a DK weight. And so she has a version of her pattern for DK yarn, and she has a version of her pattern for fingering weight yarn. And I thought this was going to be a little floppy. I was a little worried. So I got, I was back in Iowa actually, and I went to the yarn shop there to get something that had nylon in it, because I wanted something for the cuff and the heel and the toe that had nylon in it, in case this was going to want to break through and it was a little too soft. I wanted something really sturdy. He has worn these over and over and over again. He loves these socks. I was very surprised because I didn't know if he would like them or not. But he did say on the next pair, and he said, on the next pair, make the leg a little longer. He said, go into my drawer, get one of my pairs of socks, because he doesn't like the tall to your knee sock, but he doesn't like the as short as this one is. This I made off kind of the 60 rows that she tells you. And so I just made 60 rows for him. So
It held up
anyway,
really well.
oh my gosh, when he wears them all the time, and I've never done, and we wash them in the washing machine. We're bad. We wash them in the washing machine on cold.
Wow.
And never put them in a bag, just throw them in. And so you can see there's like a little pilling. But then we just lay them out flat to dry. And this, they really held up. So then I decided I would make a fingering weight pair for my daughter. So this is one of Amy's.
Decapitated foot?
Yeah, decapitated. Yes, I decapitated Amy's foot and brought it in. No, this is one of Amy's on a foot model for me. And this is the fingering weight yarn. And this is the Apple Fiber Studio Gala yarn. And this was the color Cotton Candy, which is like so totally my daughter.
So
and
cute.
then once again, I used a little bit, I think this is Katya. I used a little bit heavier yarn just to make it hold up in the heel and the toe and the cuff. But you can see like that's a big difference between a yarn with almost no variegation and what you can get when you use a yarn with a pattern. And so it's
different.
Yeah, it looks
So
like
pretty.
a completely different sock. And well, it is a completely different.
Yeah, it looks like a different pattern.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And it's the difference also, I think, between the fingering weight and the DK. And one thing I will say is I was measuring the exact foot length, and she likes her socks a little tighter. So next time for her, I would knit it maybe 1 inch shorter. She wears a size 8 women's. And so I looked up the inches, or I measured the inches on the bottom of her foot and knit to exactly what, I think you knit 1.5 inches shorter to start your toe color. And I should have gone down like another 1/2 inch, and that would have given her a little bit of more negative ease. Because
so a little more snug.
I think she wears them more around the house than like to work. She's a nurse, and I thought, oh, these will be nice and warm for her in the winter when she's always complaining that, you know, their hospital's freezing. And so I think I will knit them a little bit
tighter.
Yeah.
It makes sense too, also again for our climate. Like, you know, in San Diego, we don't tend to buy our shoes a half size larger as many people do in colder places because they know they'll be wearing thicker socks. So yeah, it's another thing we have to consider when we're making knits and things. But we wear plenty of things to keep us warm in the winter at home and whatnot, but yeah, we don't necessarily need like the heavier things.
Right.
So yeah, that's good for me to keep in mind too. I've made one pair of socks with a zobber ball actually, which was really fun. I should have brought them in today because I used the same pattern, but I need to try them on with my boots because I've only worn them in the house because I assumed they'd be too tight in my boots, you know. But yeah, I do love those. Megan has a lot of these pretty yarns here at Apricot or at Needlecraft Cottage that are similar too. So this would end up looking like the green version of that.
And this is May's colorway. She gets a new color in every month. They dye especially for the month.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do similar variations.
Yeah. Yeah, this is January's color for 2024, and she still has. Oh, this is the last one. So you can order it online. But yeah, their stuff is just so pretty, and they have so many fun colors. I have to constantly tell myself no because I don't love making socks, but these are just so fun. They turn out so nice. And yeah, they're just great.
And you may recognize the yarn, or you may not realize it's the yarn. It's the tangle of yarn that is on the front of the Spatially Challenged Knitter. It is. This is because when I wound the ball, I don't know what I did, but I tangled it so badly that I just kept untangling enough to make the socks. And the rest of it is left over, especially if you've got a smaller foot, like I would say anything below a women's, an 8 or below, and you use contrast colors for your heel, top, and toe, you have enough left over to make a pair of shorty socks.
For sure. Yeah,
and so
definitely.
if I ever untangle that yarn I would like to make a pair of shorty socks out of this for myself, or maybe for Amy, because it goes so far with this pattern.
It does, yeah. I think for my first pair of socks with the
that
Zobber
is
ball.
it. That's it.
That's the
Katya.
Katya. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
With my first pair of socks with the Zobber ball, I knit the leg a little bit shorter because I felt like 16 might be too long. And so I did 40. And yeah, I have, I think, exactly half of the ball left. So I really can make a whole full pair of socks again. And yeah, it's nice to, also what you could do then is like a sock yarn swap if you don't want the same, you know what I mean?
That would be good.
We should do that. We should do it. It'd be really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just bought, Summer Lee was having, who's another wonderful sock designer. She was having a pattern sale, and it was called the Shorty Sock something, and you got like 3 or 4 different shorty sock patterns on Ravelry, and so I bought that one. So I'm gonna try her shorty sock.
Yeah, I haven't made any shorty socks, but those would be great too. Yeah.
So then, anyway, while I was in Iowa, and these actually look like they have kind of felted it. No, well, not felted, but they've fluffed up. They've got definitely a haze. We went to the University of Iowa, so our colors are black and old gold, and so they had this yarn, the Hawkeye yarn, in the and they also had the Cyclone yarn, which we won't talk about those Iowa State people, but
Nemesis.
Yes, the nemesis. But they had the University of Iowa Hawkeye. I think it's like Hawkeye Pride or something like that was the color. I just went to look it up online, and it's sold out. So I have a feeling there was a run on it with Caitlin Clark and all the women's basketball things that went on. I think they had a run of Hawkeye Pride, and everybody came in and bought out all
Maybe there are more Hawkeye knitters than Cyclone knitters.
And that could be true. They are better people. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Rivalry.
My sister's husband went there.
He's gonna comment nasty things on the video.
Yeah. No bad comments, Norman. And Pam went there for a year too.
Watch out. Yeah. Sister-in-law rivalry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I did make the longer length for him, and he loves these. He wears them all the time. It's just like during the women's basketball tournament, I'd say, okay, go put your lucky socks on. And I did, even though I used stitch markers, one of them's a little teeny bit shorter than the other, which since he's wearing pants, who cares? But it is I don't know, I think I was knitting tighter or something, because I will have a tendency to, if I'm feeling stressed or something, I knit a little bit tighter, and it pulls it up. But he wears these a lot too. So I would say, like, would I ever knit a sweater for him? Maybe. But will I knit socks for him? Yes, I will knit socks for him over and over again. And especially since vanilla socks are the ones that I bring out for like knitting in the car or knitting in the wild, knitting at Padre games, then I will definitely be making more of her sock pattern, because we love you, Crazy Sock Lady, and we love the vanilla sock pattern.
And as a beginning knitter, the videos she has on YouTube for that pattern are so great, because you can follow every single step, and she shows you how to do this pattern with circular needles, the 9-inch circular, DPNs, and magic loop. So all the varieties of ways to knit a pair of socks, she's got a video for, and she's so clear. I don't think there was a single moment when I was making those and following the videos so carefully where I got confused because her explanation wasn't good. She's so clear, and they're great. They're really fun.
And I use the 9-inch circulars. I use Chowgu 9-inch circulars, and I really love them. And then when I have to decrease, I switch to magic loop, which I know you hate magic loop. And
that's what I did too.
And then wait, we just have to pause and show what smarty people can do over here, because Megan's listening to our podcast. And
Megan, the shop owner.
Megan, the shop owner, who can actually is not a beginning knitter and can actually do things. She's making 2 at a time on magic loop.
These are gorgeous.
I mean, the pattern for this is just unbelievable. And she's just sitting over there calmly making 2 socks at a time. And it's like, in my dreams, I would, never be able to do this. But
this is a lot of spatial ability.
Yes. Way more than what we have. But this is what you can aspire to, is you can aspire to making 2 socks at a time. And then you don't have that, one sock's a little longer than the other, even though you try to, use your stitch markers to mark every 10 rows, because you're doing the exact same thing twice, and so your socks are exactly the same.
And then you don't have second sock syndrome.
Yes,
too.
that's true. You're making 2 at a time, and so you don't have to worry about that second pressed flower sock, which I still haven't touched or cast on.
Is that in here somewhere? No, it's not on the wall, but it's very pretty, but there's only one.
So that's it for finished objects for me, the Sophie scarf and the Crazy Sock Ladies sock pattern, vanilla sock. Okay, so we are on to whips.
Okay, perfect. Now I can do my whip. Okay. Yes. So I, like I said, am a monogamous knitter, except for my pair of socks that I take for travel. But it's been so long since I took that pair of socks with me, I don't know where I am, and I'll have to probably start over, rip out a little bit to find out where I was. But last episode, the first episode, I shared that I had made my niece a little red baby sweater. She's due in June, very soon, actually less than a month, which is crazy. I know, I'm so excited. And now I'm making one for my daughter because I'm also pregnant, which is so fun. So this is the Knit Pearl Girls Aosta baby cardigan. She's great. The Knit Pearl Girl has this pattern written up for adults. She has a pullover with little buttons down the side of the raglan. She has a million versions of patterns with this same stitch pattern. And it's just really pretty. It's really fun to knit. And I am gonna make 2 more of these for friends who are pregnant. And so, I finished the body, which is great.
And look you can see the little teeny tiny buttonholes. I can even
small.
get my little finger into it. Look how
so
cute this is. Ah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. Now I'm on to Sleeve Island, which is not my favorite place to be because I have to magic loop it, but I'm gonna magic loop it. I was going to borrow Deb's little small circulars and I thought, no, I need to learn to enjoy the magic loop. I do what I found is called traveling magic loop. What I don't like about the magic loop is you can get those ladders where you have 50% of your stitches each time and you kind of have like a gap. But I don't really have the patience for like counting my stitches every time. So what I do is I just kind of halfway through what I'm doing with magic loop, I just yank the rest of the cord out one of the stitches nearby the halfway point, and that way I find I don't have those ladders and then I don't have to be as precise with my knitting, so that's nice. So onto the sleeves. I hope to finish this by the end of this week because on Thursday the yarn for the other 2 is arriving and I want to bust at least one of those out before my internship starts, and then I'll have time because the last baby is due at Thanksgiving. So I have time to make that one. But the other baby is due mid-August, like right after the internship. So I'm trying to get some baby sweaters knocked out. So that's a go. Oh, and when I was visiting my sister this past weekend in Oregon for her shower, I found some really cute vintage buttons. So they're just pearlescent, kind of. I don't know what they're actually...
show the price at the bottom.
Oh yeah, the price at the bottom was 25 cents. It's not what I paid for them, but I know, isn't that great? I love the little vintage lady on here too. She's so cute. And they're nice because on the back, it's not... But basically, you don't have to do the 4 buttonholes or whatever. I kind of like that. You just loop through. So that's fun. I don't know what they're made of. Probably resin, some sort of plastic or something, but they're really cute. And so these might go on here, or I might choose something more decorative. I'm not sure, but I thought those are great, kind of standard, classic, and I'll find a good home for them. So that's my current whip.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, I have, because I am a non-monogamous knitter,
Which is way more fun, to be honest. I'm going to be boring. When I'm your featured friend on the podcast, it's just the one thing every time.
I have quite a few whips. So I started another baby hat at Charity Knitting.
These are so
cute. Oh my gosh, so this is
I love them.
It's the Bruce pattern. Let me show you. The same one that I've been using just because it's super easy. I can bust it out. I know what I'm doing on the needles, and because I'm using the Euro Baby yarn, I can, and the Bruce pattern is by Mariana's Lazy Daisy Days, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. And
such a cute pattern too.
Yeah, it is so cute. And it gives you sizes from preemie up through, I think, 3 to 6 months. And here's a 6-month baby. And I actually, because I am such a tight knitter and the yarn is a little bit of a thick yarn, I do the 3-month one to get the size that Sharp Mary Birch wants. But I busted in, I was bored with my first skein of Euro Baby. So instead of making the 3rd hat and actually finishing a skein, no.
You'll get there eventually.
Yeah, eventually. I busted into a new purple ball of this Euro Baby, and
really pretty.
It is the cutest pattern that's coming out in this purple. It's just like, I think it could go boy or girl, depending on how the pom-pom turns out.
So cute.
But it's just super cute. And like I said, this is not a hard pattern down here. It's a little bit of a teeny tiny pattern in the ribbing, and then you just stockinette. And I'm to the point where I'm like you, I don't even at the top, this is a Clover Takumi US 6 needle that's a fixed needle. It's not one of my sets. But it's the perfect thing for this hat. And by the time I get up to the hat decreases at the top, I don't even take it apart to do magic loop. I just go like this and go around and do my decreases, and I never have to change needles this way. I can just bust out the hat and use this as a magic loop for the decreases.
That's perfect.
So that's whip number 1 is another Charity Knitting baby hat.
And this is that yarn Deb loves that is discontinued, which we're so sad about, but she said that you can find it still sometimes on eBay and whatnot.
Yes.
Right? So it's called Fair Isle Superwash Australian Wool Blend.
Yeah, it's EYB, and it's
by EYB.
It's like I said, I think I got this
cute.
Purple one for $13, and you
It's
can
a
get
lot.
3 baby hats out of
this. A lot of yarn.
So it's like, you 3 baby hats for $13. I mean, that's not bad for charity knitting.
And just so fun too.
Yeah,
it's really,
and it is fun because like you're watching the yarn and seeing what's happening next, and it makes you kind of want to keep going. And like they call it potato chip knitting, where you want to just keep eating one more potato chip. And so that's whip number 1. Whip number 2 is for Jenn's sister Jordan.
My niece.
Yes, we're going to be going up to Cannon Beach in July, and the baby will be 2 months old. And looking for the pattern. I don't know if I have it. Yes, this is it. So I cast on the Knitting for Olive Ruffle Romper. And you can do it with sleeves, or you can do it sleeveless, and it still has the ruffle on the sleeveless version. And I decided, since I was making the 3-month version, I would make the sleeveless one so that she would have it for summer. So I got going on it, and it was just so, look, in the back, this is gonna have a little button to close it up, and then this is the front of the romper.
It's so tiny. It looks like it's for a doll.
It does,
so
but
cute.
It stretches. And you block it and it stretches so it'll fit. And I'm thinking about making it, actually, because I am a tight knitter, 1 inch longer, because I figure that, that way if she's wearing cloth diapers and she has that cloth diaper butt, it'll give them a little bit extra. And then come back at the end when you get down to the, you make the front where you're going to pull it up and put the crotch together down at the bottom. It has little buttons down at the bottom. And so you do the front separately from the back. And I'm thinking about doing, because we were at a knitting group on Wednesday, and the woman came in with her 3-month-old baby.
Oh, yes.
And he has the most chunker milk thighs you've ever seen. You know how baby get those like Michelin baby chunky thighs? And I was thinking, whoa, you know, like what if Joe's baby has, you know, chunky milk thighs? I don't want this to be tight. And so I'm thinking I'm going to try the Jenny's super stretchy bind off.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Because I know it's big enough in the arms, because I really made it stretchy in the arms, but I really want it not to cut into the little legs. So I think I'm going to try that, even though it doesn't call for it. I'm going to try the Jenny's super stretchy bind off and use that just to make sure that it's going to give enough room. And then
great idea.
Where you see all the pearls is where you start the ruffle. And so the ruffle comes, you start it up here on the top of the pearl, and it covers up these pearls.
You just pick up the stitches?
I think. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I'm like, I thought it would be finished with it before now, but it's so, you use such tiny little needles that it's almost like a sock needle, I swear. And I go up a needle size just to get gauge, and it's still just like a
so adorable
tiny little needle. And so I think it's a 2.75 millimeter US 2. And so it's taking forever to knit every single little stitch, and you have to get 11 inches from the shoulder to here before you start the split for the legs. And I'm at 10, I think. So I've got 1 more inch to go. And then I split for the legs. So anyway, that is whip number 2, the Ruffle Romper. And
can't wait to see her in it.
Oh, I know. And I think, because I did get 2 skeins, because it said I would probably need some of the second skein, and I think I will by the time I get to, I don't have a lot of the first one left, so I'm definitely going to need the second one, I think, for the ruffle. And I should have enough left that maybe I can get Chris to like crochet her a little headband or something, you know,
and this is a Knitting for Olive yarn, which Megan has actually right behind us here. So many cute colors. I love all the colors.
It's merino wool, and I was worried about the merino wool a little bit. I thought, oh, you know, it's summer, but you know, it's summer up in Oregon, and I feel like, and it's when it's stretched and blocked, it's loose enough that I feel like you don't overheat as much in merino, and I think it'll be fine.
So sweet.
So anyway, that's my second whip, and my third was supposed to be done by now, but here's the bigger version. This was the actual one that we were using. Camera stand was hooked onto my mom's thing. Well, I was making a dish towel for my mom, and I still am. And looks like a little hole in it, but it's where I had to add on. It was supposed to be done by now. The pattern calls for it to be done, but it was a weird pattern to me. It's called Broken Basket Weave, and it's out of a knitting book. I showed it, I think, in the first podcast, out of Easy Knit Dishcloths. And they have it hanging over their faucet like this. So when I started it, I honestly thought I was making like a dishcloth, you know, a washcloth type size. Then I quickly realized it says towel on it. But to me, where it told me to stop, which was like back here, that's not a towel.
Yeah,
you know,
that's still small.
It's still very small, and especially because they have you make this border down here, which is different. Well, I guess it's not different. I guess it's garter stitch border, but it's thicker. And so this obviously is the bottom of the towel. So I felt like I need to make this towel longer if my mom's going to use it as a towel.
Yeah.
And so I probably will go another 3 inches in the basket weave and then do the edging. And this is supposed to be a present for Mother's Day, and this is May, what, 6-ish?
7th?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I need to get going on this tonight and get this thing done and get it in the mail.
Close.
Yeah. So
it's really pretty.
That's I love this yarn. It's a nice cotton yarn, and it's, I don't remember what it's called.
No, not scratchy at all. What does it hurt your hands at all when you're knitting?
A little. I mean, not too much. I'm not like super sensitive for that, but
it's a little, feels like it's a little bouncier than some cotton yarns too, which is nice. Sometimes that's the hard thing with
it's finer. That's another thing too, because they called for fingering weight, so it's a fingering weight yarn. Again, I seem to be only working with fingering weights lately, which is like another sloggy fingering weight. Anyway, and then Jennifer, Rick, close your eyes.
Oh.
And plug your ears.
Uh-oh.
There may have been there may have been something that was cast on, which I will be talking more about. And this took me 4 times to master this little edging right here. This was lots of ripping out, coming in, asking Megan what I had done, and but I got it, and I got it going. And so when Jennifer is not here, we will go into that a little bit more. But that's it for my whips, or active whips right now. Whips. You know, like I said, there are
I'm not bringing in my pair of socks to show you guys anytime soon. They're in hibernation. The yarn's pretty. I should show it, but all right. What's our next category? Should we do Ask a Designer?
Okay, welcome back. We're at the part of the show now where we call fantasy knitting, Ask a Designer.
Things that we'd like.
Things that we like.
To do or have.
Patterns that we like. And since we spent so much time on fantasy knitting last time, we thought we would do the Ask a Designer part for this week's, or this podcast. So, Jen, you want to start?
Yes, I have an Ask a Designer. Mine are usually based off of things I've watched on TV. And so, as I said in the last episode, I want to knit everything Lily James has ever worn in any of her movies. This was a different style show I was watching. I like British murder. That's what I said.
It's so calming.
You know, exactly.
It's so calming when you knit.
British. Lily James is British, but this, actually, I should say this is Scottish murder. Because I was watching Shetland, which is so great.
So good.
On Amazon Prime, and then it's on BritBox. And in the final episode of season 8, don't worry, there are no spoilers here. The new detective who replaced DCI Perez has a really great sweater on. I really like the Kelly green. And then hopefully you can see this. Deb's gonna throw the picture on screen for you, but she's got a really pretty raglan on that has details along the arms. So here's what it looks like. Deb will throw the picture up for you. But I would like someone to knit this up as a pattern for me. However, I did find a very close copy. It's not exact, but I think I could modify. This sweater has a 2x2 neck ribbing, and then it looks like a row of pearls along the neckline, and then it goes into the stockinette and the arm details. But this is actually very similar to the sweater that I said in the last episode that I'd be making for my sister, which I guess I do have multiple whips because I have cast that one on, but I don't think that I think I'm gonna kind of abandon it for a while because I have all these baby knits. But the sweater that's a good kind of dupe is called the Mia sweater by Cheryl Mokhteri. And it has the same like parallel lines running towards the raglan, and it's really pretty. I think what I would do is just modify the ribbing. This is twisted rib, and I think I would just do 2x2 ribbing. And then I have to look at the episode again to see what is happening at this new DCI's sweater along the waistband, but I think it could be really modifiable. But if anyone out there can find an exact copy of the sweater that I'd like from the show, let us know, because I like it a lot. I kind of like the Kelly green. I think that's a fun color. So that's my Ask a Designer. So it sort of exists, but maybe there's an exact copy out there somewhere. So Deb, you have a deep dive for us.
I have a deep dive for us.
Yeah.
So this is a vest that I purchased, and it's I'm going to stand up just so you can kind of see.
So pretty.
I like to wear vests with blouses underneath them that hang out, or a t-shirt underneath it. But the reason that I purchased this vest was because I thought it was so useful. In fact, I just wore it on my trip to Japan because it is so useful, because it has, first of all, it has different colors that I never thought of combining together. So you can wear a black shirt underneath it. You can wear a cream shirt or a white shirt underneath it. I wear this blue denim underneath it a lot, especially when I wear my Sophie scarf. But the other, and it's got stockinette, and then we were just trying to figure out what this is, this kind of ribbed stitch over here, and we're thinking maybe a moss stitch or something, or some variation. Then it's got a ribbing that's coming out over here, and it also has these slits on the side, which I really like, because otherwise if you wear a vest and there's no slit, the vest wants to keep coming up like this in the back, and it pulls your shirt up, which I really like the opening down at the bottom. But I'm gonna step off, say hi, Jen, so I don't accidentally flash the camera as I
off camera changing.
Yeah, off camera change. But what sold me on this vest, and the vest is from this company called Me+M. I had never heard of it before, but I just like randomly got one of their catalogs in the mail, and was really impressed by this, and looked at it because it was $1 million, and I was like, I should knit myself this vest. Now I really like it. But the coolest thing is it has a detachable turtleneck. And it's not a cowl, it is, it's loose, but it's an actual turtleneck. And so you can button this on, in theory. It takes me a minute, but it has these little buttons. You can button it on, and it actually, I'm just gonna hold it.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to button this here. But it actually looks like a turtleneck sweater.
It's really pretty. I've seen it both ways.
Yes.
That's great.
And so I can wear this with a black, I actually wore it with a very thin black cashmere sweater underneath it. And it looks like a sweater that has black sleeves. And then I actually wore another black sweater cardigan over the top of it, and it's like a matching set.
Totally.
And so what I'm asking designers is, everybody's doing such a great job of customizing t-shirts now, where they'll say, oh, you can add length to the sleeves, you can make it long sleeve, you can make it short sleeve, you can make it no sleeve, you can add stripes, you can add this. But when I do the vest patterns that everybody has out, it's a vest, and there's not a lot of, oh, you could do this, you could do this. And it's not, of course you could do it, but I need instructions on how to do it. I can't just say, oh yeah, let me whip up a turtleneck. Well, I mean, I guess I could sit here and count the ribs and have someone who's smart in math do the stitch pattern for me, and then say, oh, the buttons are, sewn this far from the edge, and I could do that. But I really would like to see this included in vest patterns, so that it becomes detachable because it's so much more versatile. And when you're packing, and everybody's packing in a carry-on now, and you want to bring like one cool sweater and then one cardigan, and then have something that you also have for warmth, so when you're sick of wearing your one cool sweater, you've got another sweater that you can use. This can fit the bill. A vest that can be styled in different ways and change its look completely can really fit the bill.
Okay. Sorry, we had a customer, which is good, but I felt like maybe they didn't want to be on camera.
So the first pattern I want to show you is out of the Echoes book, and this is by Susan Crawford. And I bought this book, and I actually bought the exact yarn from her to make this because it is the closest thing that I found to, it's got a pattern. Let me bring it up close. It's got a definite pattern in it. So it's not the stockinette version, but it's very cowl necky. And so it's, maybe I could figure out how to make that into a turtleneck, because I think I'd wear a turtleneck more than I would the cowly version of it. But I did just love the pattern itself and the way it's knit. And so I am going to make this one, but I think I want to try and modify the neck a little bit to make it more turtlenecky, which is going to involve math and is scary to me. And so I don't quite know how this will turn out. But this is what I'm trying to get at is, you know, it can be so versatile to have the option to wear it as just a vest. I think they actually just show the back of it that way in the book. She's wearing it as just a vest with no cowl neck on. And then you can wear a cardigan over it. You can wear a jacket over it. And I think it would be so nice to do that. The other thing is it doesn't have the split at the bottom. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that because I do really like that. That way the back of your vest doesn't ride up. It doesn't pull your shirt up. Which is fine for her, she's wearing a long dress, but if you were wearing a shirt, it would be a bit of an issue.
So in the vein of vests and modifications and just vests that we are enjoying at the moment, I'll talk about Sari Nordlund's Rosenlund top. It's technically a top, but she has such good ways to style this vest or this top that it can act as just a tank top or a vest or just a layering piece, and it's really pretty. So here it is. She's like the queen of, you know, the lacy, beautiful details. And I love that here it's just acting as a tank top for like a summer outfit. But then she styles it really well for various climates, which is nice for San Diegans, and just cute different outfits. So here we see it over a dress, which could also, it's a collared dress, so, you know, could also be like
a collared
shirt. Exactly. And then we see it as a layering piece with maybe a long sleeve t-shirt under it, or it could be even a really thin sweater and a jacket over. Then we see it with just a t-shirt under it, kind of to, you know, make your summertime baseball outfit a little cuter or whatever. And then finally, I really like this look. This is more for like the office. And I think this is really pretty. It shows that you can wear this sort of thing for a lot of different purposes, you know? So yeah, she's got great, I really always enjoy how she styles all her knits because I think you can really see the versatility of things. Because to me, when I think of a vest, I usually think of like a traditional cabled vest, you know, which are really cute. In fact, I wanted to talk about Rebecca Clow's Lauder sweater pattern. She has a Lauder, it's just called Lauder. And if you search Lauder, she's got a pullover, a V-neck sweater, and a vest. And this is generally what I think of when I think of a vest. And it's super adorable. How cute is she? So cute. But to me, in my climate, this isn't necessarily as versatile because it's thicker. This is cabled and thicker. But then I saw Sari Nordlund styling something not too dissimilar, and I thought, oh, that's true. I could just wear it as a t-shirt or a tank top, or, you know, a layering piece in all these different ways. So this actually went from, you know, I would only make that if I lived in Scotland like Rebecca Clow does, to, oh no, I could actually wear that with a lot of different options. So, because I love a good cable, but where we live, it's not really practical for 99% of the year. So yeah, so those are some great patterns.
Well, and I feel like your age group, your generation, kind of missed out on vests. Like vests were never really that big for you guys.
They're coming in now for the first time for us. That's true. Yeah.
And where we grew up, I mean, I'll have to insert an ugly photo of my high school uniform, which had the most atrocious long vests.
Private Catholic girls' school.
Yes, that buttoned. And so we kind of like hated vests for a long time. And I feel like vests are coming back into my life now because they are so versatile. I mean, like just showing that thing with Sari Nordlund, that's one piece. And I could have worn it, you know, like I brought a blazer on that trip to Japan. I could have worn it under a blazer. I would have never thought to wear the vest under the blazer. I wouldn't have thought to wear it as a shirt under the blazer.
So
you know, it's just a very, very versatile piece depending upon the pattern and the yarn and how open it is and you know, the whole vibe.
And I think for a lot of people, vests do equate to either, if you're like a Southern California resident like me, just Harry Potter, you know, like a magical world that you've never really been to, right? Because you think of private school, or someone who went to private school, it just, you immediately think of the school vest, you know, but now that they're kind of in fashion, it's, you can see how it can be worn so many ways.
Well, and Grandpa, because like Grandpa would wear a sweater vest with his shirt and his tie, you know, in the winter to keep warm when he wore like his suit to church on Sunday.
That's very
you know,
true.
So it was like more of a male kind of grandpa thing than it was a female article of clothing. I think
that's very true.
For a long
my
time.
grandpa had some for sure.
But we wanted to show you also a couple of other vest patterns, and here is where we're asking the designer, maybe, you know, sometimes designers revisit their pattern and they make little adaptations to them and then they re-release the pattern. And so here were a couple of, we wish we had enough influence to influence these designers to give their patterns another look, or we wish there were knitters out there who could say, oh, well, yeah, that would be so easy to do. All you'd have to do is blah, 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 and you'd comment on that and you'd send us some help, because we want to show you a few other patterns that we feel like could benefit from just a little modification at the neckline to make the neck detachable, and then possibly modifications at the bottom to make it a little bit looser.
So we'll start with a really great example of one that our friend Arlene is knitting. And did she finish her vest yet? She may have. We'll have to ask her. But our friend Arlene was knitting or finished this gorgeous vest by PetiteKnit that we like for the versatility factor. So that is her Lulu Slipover. And what we like so much about this pattern is the buttons along the side. It just means that you can have that split hem along the bottom, or if you wanted to, you could just button it all the way down and have, you know, you could add more button holes and then cinch it up, right? You and I prefer a vest that's got a split hem at the bottom, because like Deb was saying, then your dress or your shirt or whatever isn't bunching and kind of tight right there. But this way you could have both.
But look at the neck, because this one is a perfect example of, you could, if you didn't have that turtleneck, if you had the turtleneck, you could wear it with a t-shirt, a long t-shirt. You could wear it over the dress. But if you had the turtleneck detachable, you could wear it with a collared shirt. You could also then have a scarf that comes out and around it. You can always put a scarf around a turtleneck, but it's, another layer that you could have. You could I think it would just give you so many more styling options, and I feel like you could wear it longer, because when you get into that spring and fall time, you could wear a thin piece underneath it, but that big honking turtleneck chunkiness at your neck makes you hot.
Yes.
And so being able to unbutton it and take it off gives it much more of a 3-season, I think, thing, rather than just when it's, and because vests are kind of awkward sometimes, because it's like, well, if I'm cold enough to need something, well, then I need arms covering too, because, then I need a sweater.
Yeah.
So I think it gives it a little bit more versatility as a vest. So PetiteKnit, I know you will never watch this, but if you ever did, we would love it if you could revisit your sweater and give us that opportunity as knitters to
detachable collar.
Yeah, to have a detachable collar.
She does have the one I showed you was the chunky edition. So that is meant to be warmer, obviously. In her Lulu Slipover, just regular edition, you can see that it's not a rolled turtleneck in this case. It's just well, maybe you can't see, but it's just a singular layer. It's just a higher collar. So she does have that available as well too. And this would probably be the version that we would make in a warmer climate. But again, it'd be nice kind of to have a hybrid almost of, we could make this lighter weight in terms of lighter yarn, but then also have a detachable turtleneck. Yeah, like the rolled one, more like a cowl, because then we could wear it a lot. Really, we really could. Yeah. And
this might be something that's like super easy, and people who aren't beginning knitters could figure this out and, oh, well, I could figure this out. Why don't they just do this? It's obvious what the fix is. Well, okay.
Yeah.
That's why we have comments.
Yeah, we love,
we would love some help.
Interactive YouTube channel, please. Yeah, exactly.
And then we had another PetiteKnit that we liked.
Oh, yes. This one is really cute, and again could be really, you could easily add some sort of cowl. And in fact, this one is sort of a chunky yarn, so I think that you could just knit any cowl really in the same yarn and stick it over your head, and it probably would look like part of it because of how it sits.
And it does have the split hemline that we do.
So the pattern that I'm talking about is PetiteKnit's Holiday Slipover. So let me show you what that looks like. It's a very heavy yarn. We were looking through the pattern and trying to figure out exactly what yarn it is, but a lot of it's in Danish. But we think it would be more like an Aran weight yarn. However, it's not super bulky itself, like it's not a turtleneck. And what we really like about this pattern is that it has that split hem. You can see her dress coming up the side there. And so that allows it to be, we think, a little more versatile for what you're wearing underneath. And we also really like that the neckline is just kind of standard. So again, I think for this one, you wouldn't even need to necessarily button a cowl to it. If you wanted to add anything, you could just knit something, a cowl, in the same yarn and throw it over your head, and it might just look like a continuous part of it. So yeah, that's a great one. Oh, here's a better picture. You can see it well with the purple. So that is a really fun one. That'd be great for the office. That'd be great with a dress as she has it, with a t-shirt. Really cute options. So that is a great one. And I feel like that's the closest to something I feel I myself could make modifications to. Yeah.
And I feel like it's very close to this, and all that is different is that the collar is folded over It's a ribbed collar, but it's just done as an inch. So it's 2 inches of ribbing, and it's folded over and sewn. And then here at the collar, this has what did we just call it? Twisted basket weave or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then so they just did this across at the top, moss stitch. And then they went down the side of the vest with it, and then they picked up the stitches like she did on the pattern for her ribbing, and did it in the cream here, and then at the bottom they just did it in a different color. So like you could make this into something a little different too.
You could modify it.
You could modify it too.
Of the difficulty, it's a 2 out of 5. So it's pretty, modifiable for even a beginner. So yeah, like me. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Deb had two more vests to look at. So the next one is
this is the Emery vest by Locatelli. And I just loved it because it was a little bit more of a traditional vest. It does have the cables on it, but I think again, if I would make it a little longer and then try to split the hem, and then I think for the turtleneck part, I wouldn't want it to be a matching thing. I would just want to have a detachable turtleneck that would be just like the ribbing
2 by 2, maybe.
At the bottom, and then that way I could use it the same way, to do as a kind of sweater, like a twin set almost, to have a cardigan that was pretty plain to match it, and then get more bang for my buck to style it. And then the last one, so I love this one, and you will never see this, but I love it. And I think she did give instructions in her pattern on how to lengthen it.
That's nice.
So if I remember right, I was looking at this pattern. It's in my favorites. This last one is truly kind of fits both fantasy knit and the vest. This is the one I actually would love to make first. However, the pattern's in Japanese and only comes in Japanese, but it does give you a how to translate Japanese to English chart that comes with the pattern, but it's in Japanese. And so, but it's called the number 10 Guernsey pattern vest.
By Yoko Hatta.
Yes. And
it's really gorgeous.
You should see her patterns. Like, this woman has got to have someone translate her patterns into English, because this is one of the coolest vests I've ever seen. And I really, really love it. And
there's just one photo.
Yeah, I all of her patterns only have one photo. And they're all only in Japanese. And I went down this rabbit hole one night when I just went on her Ravelry page and was just like, oh my gosh, I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. But it's, I mean, we could do it. Megan's crying in the corner, sobbing silently.
She sees this idea coming to light, but she knows she's going to have to be a big part of it.
She knows she's going to have to help figure out the Japanese chart.
She's very quiet about her complaints. She doesn't voice them to us, but we know.
But we know when we leave the shop. Oh my God!
Oh, yeah, we had some ideas. Yeah, Megan doesn't want to hear us say that.
No.
Yeah, we had an idea. Yeah.
So anyway, I feel like us putting it out there. I can't look at every pattern on Ravelry.
Yeah.
There might be a pattern that's out there that's the perfect pattern that you guys all know about that we don't know about. So we're asking a designer, we're also asking you, if you've seen patterns that give those instructions to us, or just even like a tutorial on how to take a rib knit and make the split at the bottom of it, or how to make a button on thing, or one with a detachable collar that actually, we could then turn and do it on another sweater pattern that had the knit, the neck, So we're putting it out there not only for designers, but I really I'm so happy that designers are making more changes and allowing for more personal freedom and modification. But I feel like vests are the forgotten area because, you know, it's like the vest, boom, and here's the vest, boom. So like, think about that one too. You know, think about vests, because I feel like they're really versatile and quicker to knit. You don't have sleeve island, and you can. They're perfect pieces to travel with because they're light. So you could even wear it onto the plane and then strip it off on the plane when you're on your, you know, long flight, and then put it back on when you're getting off the plane. And, you know, it's another piece that gives you that versatility for a travel wardrobe. And now we've seen a professional wardrobe and casual wardrobe. Like, I would have never thought to wear a vest to a baseball game. No. But now that it's got that like short sleeve shirt and a baseball hat, it's like, cute. Well, why couldn't you wear a vest to a baseball game?
It's also, I feel like vests are, a lot of people have complained about, myself included, that since COVID, we all kind of slid back into bad clothing habits, right? Like just sort of wearing comfort only. But a vest is comfortable and also looks nice and can be very professional too. So I think this is a good sort of gateway back into looking a little nicer, but still being really comfortable.
And too, depending, I mean, like I will always have a chambray shirt. I will always have 4 or 5 chambray shirts in different colors of chambray, because I love denim and chambray shirts. I mean, I grew up in the 70s. I love them. And so the difference between wearing a vest with this and wearing it with a white blouse or a black blouse, and you know, like a more formal button up, or even one of those blouses with the bows on them. You know, it's
so cute.
Totally different looking than wearing it with a chambray shirt, making it more casual. So I feel like it just gives you a lot of styling opportunities for people who are looking to put together a capsule wardrobe, or, you know, well, what can I wear with all of these other things I have in my closet already? I've got all these pattern blouses. I've got all these, you know, other things. What can I do to wear these so I pull it out of my closet and wear it more? A vest gives you an option when it's too hot to wear a sweater, but you want a little something, you know, your office is a little cool and you want a little something when they're running the air conditioner in the summer too. So it's a versatile.
So that's our deep dive.
That's our deep dive and our Ask a Designer 2. So we are on to questions, and we will be back. Okay, thanks.
Bye.
The Needlecraft Cottage now has new hours. Megan's open on Mondays through the summer from 10 to 5. Also, look for new yarn in store, and they're coming out with a whole new schedule of summer classes and events. Check the website, and happy knitting.
I'm knitting in the wild. You'll hear a lot of street noise, but that's because the jacaranda trees, which are one of the most beautiful trees in all of San Diego, when all the purple's blooming, and this happens every May, where the city's just surrounded in these purple covered streets. They're all on major busy streets, and so you have to put up with a little traffic noise to get the beauty that you love. But to me, this is San Diego in May. It means summer's coming, June's right around the corner, and it's the ultimate kind of spring into summer part that I love of San Diego. I'd never seen these trees before I came here before. I think they're from
Australia, but I'm not sure. I have to look that up. But if you ever get a chance to come to San Diego in late May, take a minute to sit under the jacarandas and enjoy your knitting. Thanks. Bye.